Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 14th day of, 7th day of April. I'm getting ahead of myself. 7th day of April 2021. 1 week away from the 14th of April as well, which, of course, as you know, will be Election Day here in the Cayman Islands. I hope and I trust that everyone had a wonderful, peaceful Easter holiday. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and yes, this morning there is less traffic on the roads because schools are still out. But if you are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we again urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may be your own. That is irrespective of whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memory of your loved ones will also help to sustain you. For those of you who are ill, either at home or at some medical facility, we want to wish for you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Art Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, the phone lines are open. Always someone there waiting to take your calls. This morning, it is the radio voice of DJ Lynn waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And if you're listening this morning, or if you're following us on YouTube, you will be hearing my conversation with none other than Mr. Mario Ebanks, candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections, 7 days away from today. He's seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. Mr. Ebanks, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record, and I hope and I trust that you had a wonderful Easter.
Thank you, Mr. O.C. Thank you to Radio Cayman, and all. I want to say good morning to all the listeners in Grand Cayman, Bracken, Little Cayman, and around the world. Yeah, we did have a beautiful Easter, busy, but also got a little downtime, got a little time with family, got a little time with friends, and tried to also enjoy and reflect on Holy Week and the Passion of the Christ. So we had a good time, you know. It's good to be back here. Last week, Wednesday, I was here with you, and then on Thursday evening we had the second production, I call it, of Let's Talk Policy with Mario, which is our 1 hour talk show that we bring in guests to talk about issues of policy, and we kind of do a little deep dive into some of the issues. You know, in campaigns, in political campaigns, you have to have a balance between policy and personal development and community matters, and so I've tried to make that balance as palatable as possible in terms of not overloading people with detail at public meetings, because, you know, they'll come and they get too much detail, they'll go sleep on you, you know, unfortunately. But so what I've been doing is using the radio, in particular, the voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman, and yourself, Mr. O.C., also to get the word out, to talk about policy. But we had a great discussion last Thursday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. where I had as our guests in Let's Talk Policy with Mario, we had Mr. James Whitaker, and he spoke about alternative energy and also the shortcomings of OFREG, which is the regulator who deal with telecommunications, CUC and others. So he discussed that. And I had a lovely young lady from West Bay as well, another West Bayer, Catherine Miles, who did a paper on the impact of cost of living and costs on community and business and society. And she did a in-depth discussion about the factors impacting the cost of living. And Ms. Catherine Wells, I might have said Miles before, but Ms. Catherine Wells did a great job of that, and also Mr. James Whitaker. So this kind of discussion of high-level policy, Mr. O.C. and listeners, gives the viewers and listeners a glimpse of how I will govern if I'm blessed to be elected next week, Wednesday. I always believe in surrounding myself with good people, good talented people, and allowing those people to rise to their full potential. And I always love to unleash the creativity and talent and the intellectual brilliance of people. And so that's why we do this, to talk about issues, but also to show people how I like to govern, how I like to lead, likes to get people involved, right? So again, I want to thank James Whitaker and Catherine Wells for being here last week and on the Let's Talk Policy with Mario. Before we get on to the program this morning, I want to just talk about something as well, but I'm hoping that today, since we're going to be on to about 8:45 or thereabouts, that we'll maybe have chance to open the lines as well at some point for some calls. Let's see how that goes. Yes. I don't want to cut off the listeners from talking, but at the same time, we have so much material to cover, and I'll try to do it in such a way that it's not rushed.
And meanwhile, they're free certainly to send in WhatsApp messages, emails, and I will try to fit them in, between, after commercial breaks when I'm reintroducing you, or some gap while you're making your presentation as well. We can do that.
Perfect. So if you could just repeat the numbers.
Yes, they can email us at For The Record, one word, For The Record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261.
Mr. O.C. and listeners, last Wednesday, my political opponent, and I want to stress political opponent, no other opponent really, just in politics. My political opponent in West Bay West came on this show, your show, after I finished last Wednesday, and after he got back from a prayer meeting at his church, at a church. And unfortunately, he continued his trademark of telling lies, mudslinging, and his bombastic tactics. And I announced at the talk show on Thursday evening that I was going to come here, and after Easter I was going to reply to him and to set the record straight.
Okay.
However, Mr. O.C., after going through Easter and Holy Week and getting so many requests from my family, from friends, from my supporters in West Bay West, and also even many of the defecting supporters of my political opponent, I changed my mind about doing that this morning. Instead, I want to continue my quest to unify and strengthen our community. This is a time for a better vision, ideas, and solutions, not about mud and hate and venom. And after all, Mr. O.C., the world is still a very dangerous place, and we as leaders have to make sure we don't add to the dangerous nature of the world. And the Cayman Islands is still under in a world where there's a global pandemic of COVID-19. So the last thing we need is more hate and division and venom. This island is still one of the best places on earth to live. We are COVID-free. We're free of COVID except for travelers coming in. We're being tested. But our borders are still closed. So we have a big job to do to safely reopen our borders. And that's going to take intellectual capital, thought, partnership, and unity, not division. And our government, this Cayman Island government, recently forecasting some high budget deficits this year and also into next year. So we need to have MPs elected who have competence and who have high ethical standards, people of character, and people who are bold and courageous, and people who have a good Christian heritage to help guide us through these stormy waters that we are in at the moment. So this morning, as I said, I had intended to ask Mr. McKeeva a few questions. I'd intended to ask him about First Cayman Bank, for example, which collapsed while he was a director of the bank in the late 90s. This morning, I'd also intended to ask him about his condo or his condos at the Ritz-Carlton development on the West Bay Road on 7 Mile Beach. This morning, I'd also intended to ask him about a letter that he wrote to Mr. Stanley Thomas, the letter that he wrote on October the 7th, 2004, when he was leader of government business. I have the letter right here, Mr. O.C. I have the letter right here. And I want to give it to you so that you'll know that it's real. So could I just hand that to you, sir?
Okay. I think I've seen it before.
Okay.
This goes quite a way back.
Yeah, 2004. But I want to make sure that for the record, gets the written record as well. This morning I was also going to remind my political opponent about his letter that he wrote and signed on the 24th of February 2020 in relation to the assault that he was charged for. He pleaded guilty. He was convicted and sentenced for, which was a crime against a female. And I also have that letter here, Mr. O.C. It's right here. It's in black and white. It's signed by him. And again, I want to give that to you for the record so you can have that in case anybody wants to see it. All I would say about that particular case of the assault in 2020, that he talks about him being innocent and he didn't do anything wrong and he was attacked and all this kind of stuff. I say to him again, if you are so innocent, release the CCTV video footage that was available, that was recorded by the establishment on the 7 Mile Beach, that he and his attorney, his defense attorney, would have had to have been received in the bundle that was given by the prosecution, and in fact it was played in the court. So if he's so innocent, then I think he needs to release that video so everybody can see that he's innocent. But Mr. O.C., that's it about that.
Okay.
We're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about other important matters. And I want to also, however, give the West Bay West voters another bigger warning about my opponent. I want to ask them, do you want to have an iconic tower and 20 to 50 story buildings in Cayman? If you want that, my opponent, if he's elected and get back into power, that's the kind of thing he has said he will do. In his Christmas message in, I think, December 2018, he did promote this 50-story towers and stuff like that that he supports. I also asked my voters in West Bay West, do you want the DART organization's new pad to be given approval? And that pad, as you know, I talked about on the show a couple of times, is the one which proposes to put a canal or series of canals, but one canal under the bridge on the bypass, and a new water turning basin near the Kimpton Hotel in 7 Mile Beach, and bring in the waters of the North Sound and the waters of the 7 Mile Beach, probably within 1,000 feet of each other. If that's what you want, that's what he will give you if he is re-elected. Do you remember who allowed DART and the DART organization under the 4 Cayman Investment Alliance agreement and the NRA agreement to close off a large stretch of 7 Mile Beach Road, and also the place where they're now building a new hotel, Indigo, that was supposed to be land that was a campground for Caymanians? If you want to see the continuation of those kind of deals, then my opponent will do that again if he is re-elected next week, Wednesday.
Okay.
Do you want...
Go ahead, I'll let you finish that and then we'll go to a break.
Thank you. Do you, West Bay West voters, want to see more duty concessions and other sweetheart deals for large developers and wealthy investors without the revenue coming to the Caymanian people through the Treasury? If you want that, then you need to vote for him. But if you do not want that kind of mismanagement, then say no to my opponent next week, Wednesday, when you go to the polls. West Bay West, if you elect my opponent and his two colleagues, barkers, beautiful barkers, will not be safe from dredging or mangrove buffer removal. These, my friends, are the big and important issues. And I am also only speaking about the public record of my opponent, nothing about family or any other mud. I'm talking about his public record. I am not here to promote hate speech and lies. I'm here to talk about his public record, and I've just done that, and that's it. We're moving on.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. When we return, the conversation with Mr. Mario Ebanks will continue, so please stay tuned. Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Mario Ebanks, a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections, seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. Mr. Mario, back over to you, sir.
Thank you. When we took the break, I was just going through some of the questions and some of the issues around my political opponent in West Bay West. And before we go on, I just want to make a couple of other comments. But I also want to encourage the children and families in West Bay. I just heard the commercial about the Rotary Central Easter Children's Extravaganza taking place this Saturday at the Teacher Ridley Library in West Bay. And that's Rotary Central is my club, my old club. I'm not active and certainly can't be involved now, but I want to encourage families and children to go out to that. We've done that for years, and it is a wonderful, wonderful event. Mr. O.C., my political opponent told me that he only wants to be the speaker if he is re-elected. He wants to get 4 more years to make 40 years as a MLA or as an MP. I submit to you and to the voters of West Bay West to say no to him being a speaker, no to him being a minister, no to him being a premier. West Bay West, I think, must get at least one minister, or West Bay must get at least one minister, and maybe even the premier, but not him. I think after 36 years, I think we need to bid him farewell politically and have him enjoy his retirement. What is interesting also is that the opposition and most independents in this campaign don't want to work with him. They've said so publicly. The Progressives Alliance, which he is somewhat a part of, their leader, Mr. Roy McTaggart, has said last Monday on the radio debate on Rooster that he will have no role. Mr. McKeeva will have no role in their government as speaker or as a minister. So where is he going? If they vote for him into West Bay West, what is going to be the result? The opposition don't want him, independents don't want him, the progressives don't want him. So I think it's going to be a wasted vote. So and his supporters are also leaving and joining our campaign, publicly and privately. So I think it's time for Mr. Bush, who served 36 years. That it's time for him to drop out of this race and join our team. He needs to come across and walk Freedom Street and come across and join us and vote for me also. But if he drops out, would be no need for a vote in West Bay West next Wednesday. There's a song, an old Church of God song that says, "There's room at the cross for you. While others have come, there's still room for one. There's room at the cross for you." Mr. McKeeva, there's room for you to enjoy retirement and to reflect on your 36 years. Please don't go down in political defeat next Wednesday. There's a better way. There's room for you. Cross over, drop out of the race, and let us work together, because there's too much work to be done for division in West Bay West or any other place in this island. And that's where I want to start my discussion this morning on new vision, ideas, and solutions. Okay,
I just want to alert you, we have about 3 minutes and we'll be going to the news.
Perfect. When I'm going through the district over the years, but in particular the last 4 or 6 weeks as a candidate, I've been struck by the needs of the elderly, the children, the single parents, and the task is going to be awesome. Whoever is elected, it's a daunting task, right? And so we need to have people who are going to be competent and who are going to be available, who are going to work for the people. And the district council is one of the ways that I'm going to bring that about, where you're going to empower people, you're going to involve people, you're going to involve the citizens into their district. And someone sent me a note just the other day, and our committee has looked at it, where we have a database of all of the people in our constituencies, what they need, their names, their occupations, their workplace, their dependents, and have access to them, and so that we can know who we got in there, exactly what the issues are. Of course, you got to do all this in accordance with the data protection law, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a community fund where persons can contribute, and we can help some of these people. Because I tell you, there are people, when you go out there, and I can't do it as a candidate because that's treating and that's illegal, but the needs are there. Now, some of those needs are self-inflicted, but the needs out in the community, Mr. O.C., are really, really huge. And I think we need to have district councils operational. We need to understand the MPs are not heroes. They can't do all things. They're not Christ, and they need to reach out and get help. And that's why district council is so important. And we're not going to use it to buy votes or to influence anything before or after the election. But we need to have unity. We have a beautiful country here, but division and hate is going to tear us apart like some of our neighbors around us. So I'm saying to Mr. Bush and his campaign, let's work together. It's time for you to retire, pass the baton on to me. Let's work together and let's see if we can address some of these problems, because I don't want 4 years from now to go out and hear the same things I'm hearing now. We're going to deal with them, but we have to deal with them in unity and not by division. I'll take a break if you want me to take a break.
Well, we have about half a minute.
All right.
What I'll do is I'll just put this question to you that someone, this observation that someone has made, and then you can respond to it when we return. And it has to do with the advisory district councils, and they point out the fact that there are some who oppose the current structure or the current legislation in relation to advisory district councils on the basis that they are elected members of the legislature or the parliament, and you shouldn't have unelected persons directing them or giving them advice. So that is why some members of parliament currently oppose the advisory district councils as is being proposed, and what your position is in relation to the formulation of the advisory district councils, how they would be formulated. So we'll get you to answer that when we return from our 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Mr. Mario Ebanks will continue after our 8 o'clock news, so don't change that dial.
Gran, it was good to see you, but we've got to get home.
Yep, we've got to let the dog out.
Speaking of dogs, you won't believe who I saw the other day.
Who?
Honey.
Remember Anton, Jeanette's oldest boy? The one with the dogs, you know.
With local claims managers, we pay your motor claims fast. We're like a goodbye at your granny's that doesn't take 30 minutes.
Anton can't pass up one of my kids.
Will you look at that? We really got to get going.
So soon?
CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
Cayman Turtle Conservation and Education Center invites you to join them on Sunday, 11th April for their first annual Turtle Crawl 5K walk and run. All funds raised from the event will support the conservation of green sea turtles in the Cayman Islands. So come on out and show your support. Learn more and register now at www.turtlecrawl.ky. Proudly sponsored by HSM, Rotary Central, Gatorade, and Radio Cayman. The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
For additional weather information, visit www.weather.gov.ky. As well, stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour 3 times per week instead of study more. Consider what you need to do daily, weekly, or by the end of the year in order to succeed. Smaller goals allow you to focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Things just got a bit hotter on Island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
With Logic, you get more things you do want, like faster fiber internet, more TV, entertainment, and better customer service. And you get less of the things you don't want, like waiting, boredom, and disappointment. More of the good, less of the bad. It just makes sense. Or should I say, it's logical. See what I did there? Call us or go to logic.ky to find out how you could be getting way more of what's good.
Have you been offered new appliances, cash, home repairs, or groceries in exchange for your vote? If so, you are a victim of voter influence. The Anti-Corruption Commission, in connection with the Elections Office, encourages you to take a stand and act against corruption. today. As a voter, you should not encourage corruption or tolerate the corruption of others. During this election season, vote responsibly and with integrity. It's time for a change, Cayman. Be that change. For more information, visit the Commission website at anticorruptioncommission.ky. This PSA is endorsed by the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Elections Office.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has lots of great reasons why you should choose a Toyota Corolla Hybrid or CHR Hybrid for your new ride. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven, so you don't ever have to worry about plugging them in. Both are super quiet as well as economical and fun to drive. So stop by Vant Motors to check out a new, fuel-efficient, eco-friendly Toyota Corolla Hybrid for only $26,900 or a sporty CHR Hybrid starting from $34,150 while stock lasts. Go Toyota. Go hybrid. Go to Vampt Motors on Walkers Road.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. 1 week before the general elections here in the Cayman Islands, and I have in the studio with me Mr. Mario Ebanks, who is seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. So he's obviously a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections. Back over to you, Mr. Ebanks.
Thank you. When we took the break, I had a question about advisory district councils. But before I jump on that one, I just want to remind the public that I said earlier that the progressives didn't want to have, said they didn't have a role for Mr. McKeeva, my political opponent. They didn't have a role for him. That's what Mr. McTaggart said last week. But I want to warn the voters of West Bay West and the island in general, don't be hoodwinked by that, because the progressives changed the election, brought it forward by at least 6 weeks to facilitate the debate and the situation with the Speaker of the House, who is also my opponent. And so don't be hoodwinked by that. But all I'll say is that if the progressives want to abandon him now, if he is elected, he's going to take them out by putting together a group of which he, Mr. McKeeva, is the premier. So the progressives are in a bad situation right now. Don't be fooled by what they're saying about not having a role for my opponent. They all want to work together to continue this runaway train that they have here. We need to change them all and put in a good group of independent candidates, very competent, ethical people that we can form a government. And I told you last time I was here about that book with Abraham Lincoln called Team of Rivals. Mm-hmm. And that's an excellent book to read about how people can work together and make things better and create historic achievements. But you know what I also find very strange, before I get to that question about advisory district councils, is that my opponent, he didn't show up twice to debate me. He didn't show up at the Rooster debate on the talk show, Rooster Radio. He didn't show up at the Chamber of Commerce debates. He refused to come, didn't want to face me. But what he's doing now is that whenever I come on the radio, he is now woken up, and he has booked space as well, long after I had space booked. Comes on after me to try to rebut me and try to tell a pile of lies and throw mud and mislead the people. But he did not want to come to face me so that we could have debated, we could have rebutted each other, and we could have taken questions. He didn't want to do that, but yet he come behind me with this nonsense. So again, reject him. It's time to go. 36 years is enough. No more 4 more years for him. It's time for him to retire and enjoy his retirement. Now let's move on to the advisory district council. The question that you got about somebody who wrote and said that because district council members are not elected, they shouldn't really be influencing.
Some politicians are of the view, sitting members of parliament are of the view that
Yeah, I remember the question.
Because they're unelected, yeah.
Right, yeah. Look, we have to empower people in our community, in our country, to participate in government. When people participate, I always say, when you write something, you'll underwrite it. So if you're involved in something, in writing it and developing it, you're going to support it and you're going to make sure it happens, right? And if you give people the ability to serve, you empower people and give them roles on the advisory district councils. Yeah, you elect them, they're elected amongst their peers, and I think they should also even receive a stipend for serving as chairman or as members of the advisory district council, because it's going to take some time. The amount of work that needs to be done, the advisory district councils are going to have to be working. So we need to reward them. We need to make sure that we are giving them the ability to serve. But as I say, the issues are daunting. The MPs need help on the district level and advice so that they can deal with some of the other big issues as well. And the district councils allow for empowerment, involvement, and also succession planning. People in district councils can be developed to become MPs. So it's a win-win all over. So those candidates or those incumbents who say that they don't have value and they're dangerous because people are not elected, I think they themselves need to go and have a check on themselves, because that argument doesn't hold any water. I want to talk a little bit about two topics this morning, two topics in my manifesto, and details of me, my plans, my committees, goals and aspirations, and also outline of our manifesto is found on our website, and the address is www.mario4wbw.com. That's the website. We also have a Facebook page, Mario4WBW. You can see a lot of details as well. But on the issue of health and wellness in our manifesto, we have a section dealing with health insurance, and it says, as part of an overhaul of related legislation, explore and implement a system of health insurance for all, including workers, retirees, the elderly, the indigent, school children, and children with special needs. We need to have a reform of our health insurance system, Mr. O.C. And I was there when the pensions legislation came in, and I also was there when the health insurance legislation came in, although I wasn't working on that topic because that was under the health ministry at the time. But we now have a situation in the country where health insurance is expensive. When you leave employment as a retiree, and after a certain age, your health insurance falls by the wayside. So if you have it for 30 or 90 days after that, then it's all over. And we need to first of all, we got to have an actuarial assessment of the issue that's taking place. What are the costs, right? What kind of benefits people need? How much that's going to cost? Then we look out and see what the providers are offering. And then government needs to put out then a RFP, or request for proposal, where one or two companies are given the right, they're given the contract to offer health insurance. I don't believe in government offering it. I know some my opponent and some of the progressives think that it should be a state-run system. I believe the government needs to set the rules, set the legislation, and then give a contract to one or two established, internationally recognized providers, and have them offer health insurance for the country, and maybe review that every 2 or 3 years and go back out to market again. So we don't have the market saturated with people offering this system.
But what happens to the indigent, those who are indigent? Shouldn't the government make provisions for them separately? Or?
Yes, as I said, our plan covers workers, retirees, the elderly, the indigent, school children, and children with special needs. So everybody's going to be covered. Whether we have a special group that is covered by Synago, whether it was indigent, that you can't cover them under this new model of this reformed health insurance, that's to be decided. But we need to I know the Ministry of Health and the Health Insurance Commission for a number of years now have been trying to do something about this, but they're getting nowhere, and we need to get somewhere fast. And I'm proposing that we have this committee established. We have we put out a plan of action, which is to do an actuarial assessment of the issue, look at what's currently being provided, put in place a RFP to go out to the market to say, you guys need to come back to us on this, and then whoever is the best bidder based on all those rules, and also bolstered by legislation, i.e. law and regulation reform, you are the providers for this health insurance for all. Now, it's going to also, I think, have to be a system where employers and employees contribute, and it's also going to have to cover post-employment or retirement insurance. And, we have systems where, for example, people pay into health insurance, and depending on how long you're with an organization, then your health insurance can take you beyond retirement. Mm-hmm. So if you're there for 5 years, you may have to, when you leave, you might not get much of insurance, or not much of it is subsidized by the employer. But if they're a longer time, the longer you're in, you're kind of vested almost on your health insurance, and you have your health insurance for a longer period post-employment. So that, in a nutshell, is our proposal in relation to health insurance for all. I do not agree with it being a public sector or a state-run system. I believe government role is to set the legislation, set the tool, and enforce. Government shouldn't be running things. Government should be enforcing it and letting the private sector do it, but enforce it and make sure that penalties are put in place, and not just penalties, but it's enforced, right? So that's on the health and wellness. That's just one of the bullet points under our health and wellness program dealing with health insurance. There are other things in our manifesto under that topic that, I just want to say to people that the little brochure that we're passing out is just a snippet, just a very, very brief thing of the manifesto. The full outline is on our website, so people can look at that and get more details. Now, in the other area of pensions, in our manifesto under the topic of development of Caymanian talent, there's reference to pensions. And again, that's an area that I have a lot of experience in and know how to do it in terms of legislation and in terms of administration. And in that section, we say we're going to revamp the Department of Labor and Pensions to be more effective in labor compliance and employee relations. And as part of that reform, under my plan, we're going to look at regulations, new regulations. Remember, I was the secretary of the Pension Plan Advisory Committee when pensions were first introduced, and I was the secretary of the committee in 1995 to 1997, and then from 2012 to 2015, I was the director of labor and pensions and the superintendent of pensions. I had a kind of dual role or a triple role in some cases. But we're going to look at pensions, and again, as is the case now, my policy will be that the state or the government does not run pensions for the private sector. We keep what we have now, but we make it better. We improve it. And the reason why it hasn't been improved is that when the legislation was first passed and came into effect in 1998, everybody, including my political opponent, decided that, okay, law was passed, regulations are passed, and now we can just leave this alone and make it run itself. We had to put in place resources, staffing, computer systems, enforcement, interrelation between the pensions and immigration and trade and business licensing and all that interrelation. Those are not done. So when I became director in 2012, I realized that it was a huge, huge problem. They didn't have annual reports were not done for 10 years. They had a lot of people who were delinquent in their payments. Employees were being deducted pensions, but they're not getting it. All that kind of stuff was going on because the enforcement was not there. We tried to do the best we could do in 3 years to deal with all those things. But of course, it's a long-term problem from 1998, and you couldn't address that in 3 years. But we're going to look at the regulations, the investment regulations, all the regulations. We're also going to put in place in our system interagency cooperation, so between the Department of Pensions and Work and Trade and Business License and Health Insurance Commission, where the enforcement of the law can take place. Because if you have somebody who is delinquent in their pensions, it means that they're going to have a problem getting their work permits approved or granted or renewed, and likewise if they're delinquent in other areas. We also want to look at, I believe, and I agree with those who comment, that having 9 providers of pensions is way too much. You know, the market is spread too thin, and it can't work. Again, we have to do it where you have some of these organizations are going to have to fall by the wayside, or you're going to have a merger. But you need to have maybe 2 or 3 pension providers. And again, operating under strict law and regulations. Government sets the tune. Government goes out and gives them the right or the contract as approved providers for a period of 3 or 4 years, whatever, that they're the ones that can do this. And you'll probably have some of the same ones that you have now, but you have less of them. So they'll be operating under a much more organized, enforced environment. You'll have better regulation, better legislation. And you also have to look at the enforcement as well as, right now, if you take somebody to court for pensions, you can be waiting around for years before you get justice. And justice, that's not justice if you got to wait so long for it. We have to have a special court, a commercial court that's dedicated to the prosecution of pensions and other labor matters. I told you last week that we want to do a labor commissioner under the labor legislation reform, and also set up a separate system where you have the tribunals under the commission secretariat. All that kind of stuff we're going to do. And that may seem daunting, Mr. O.C., but we're going to do all these things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard, and we're going to work hard to do it. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at synergies between the National Pensions Office and the Public Service Pension Board. I believe that those two organizations can work together closer than they're doing now. I believe that there's skills and synergies between the two of them, and there's no reason why you can't have National Pensions Office and the Public Service Pension Board become one. They can share resources, they can share expertise, and one of them is looking at public sector, one at the private sector, and you're having the separation because you have a special board for the public sector, special board for the private sector, but you have resources being shared as opposed to duplicated. Years ago, when I first took over the role of Director of Labour and Pensions, there was talk about putting the pensions under the Monetary Authority. That was a fairly good concept, but again, it wasn't fit for purpose. Under this model that I'm proposing in pension reform, we're going to combine the National Pensions Office with the Public Service Pension Board, have separate governance structures, but common synergies in terms of enforcement, information or IT systems, and skills. Right? The final area of reform in pensions is that looking at that annual benefit that people get. The thing about it, again, the contribution rate of 10% that we have from 1998 is woefully inadequate. That can't provide anything for people. Now, the other thing that's woefully inadequate, no matter how much money you have in your pension, even before the large withdrawals last year because of the COVID withdrawal scheme, no matter how much you have in your pension plan, you can only withdraw $12,000, $13,000 a year. So how is that going to help anybody? Our plan is that we're going to index the withdrawals, Mr. O.C. We're going to index that. So depending on how much you have in your pension plan, you'll get more based on indexing, based on actuarially sound strategies, so that somebody who has maybe $1 million in their pension can get more than $12,000 a year. Maybe they can get 24 or 30,000 a year. So it depends on how much you have. We can look at all those things, and it's time to do it. It's time to stop throwing mud and dealing with all these little minutiae things. Let's deal with some of these big problems in this country. Otherwise, we're going to bring the country to its knees with all these problems. So my plan for pensions reform and health insurance reform are bold and courageous. We're going to do it, and I know how to do it, and we're going to have people around us. They're going to make sure it gets done and done properly and done on time, and not just promises. So if you want to open up the lines for calls, I'm willing to take a few calls before we break.
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you.
Certainly. DJ Lynn, just letting our listeners and viewers know that the phone lines are going to be open for any questions or observations for Mr. Mario Ebanks. In the meantime, one of our listeners has sent a WhatsApp message in saying that you continue to refer to what we are going to do, and their question is, who are we?
I like to talk inclusive. When I say we, I like to say I. When I say we, I am counting on the mercies of the voters. I'm counting on the mercies of God to elect a team of good people on next Wednesday, that we can work together, all of us, whether it's a coalition or what, we're going to work together. When I say we, I mean that me, my God, and a lot of good people, independents elected and those people who are unelected. Because to get all this done, it's not going to be Mario Ebanks alone. It's going to have to be all of us, all hands on deck. So we means that person who just wrote, it means him or her as well. Going to have to be involved. I have no alliance with any of the teams. Okay. There's nothing that we're working on. My thing is trying to get our message out and to have victory in West Bay West. Once we do that, then we can work with whoever else the people put in there. We have to have victorious result in West Bay West first to do all those other big, good and bold, courageous things.
Okay, any calls there, DJ Lynn? Nothing? Okay, Mr. Mario, mic is still yours.
Okay, good. So, as I said, getting back to health insurance and pensions, our plan is not for a government-operated scheme. I know that the current government, the Premier and members of his government and members of the opposition have been muting about making this pension thing a government-operated scheme. They're also talking about health insurance that should be totally government, whether it's Synico or what or not. If I am at the table after the elections next Wednesday, I am going to advocate for what we have done with pensions, a private sector scheme that is administered by government under clear rules, i.e. legislation and regulation, also properly enforced with penalties and with information systems that ensure that the thing is done properly. But we're going to ensure that it's done based on solid scientific data, i.e. actuarial assessments, and also looking at the market and ensure that the thing can work. And it's, like I said, 2 or 3 maximum providers for health insurance, 2 or 3 maximum providers for pensions, and those people will be getting the license, if you will, to offer it, but they're going to have to abide by proper rates that are acceptable by industry, i.e. by the medical community, but also by Cayman in terms of cost, and the same thing with pensions, operating it under proper conditions. I think we have a call.
Yes, we do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Question or observation for Mr. Ebanks? Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Question or comment from Mr. Ebanks?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good. Go. Please proceed.
Hello?
Go right ahead.
Oh, is this OC?
Yes. Go ahead, Doc.
This is Steve McPhail.
Good morning.
I'm calling this. Good morning, Mr. Ebanks.
Yes, sir. Morning.
I'm calling this morning. I'm not. You notice that I've been very quiet all during this period because I want to leave people alone, and I don't want to make people believe that I am for one or the other candidate. I want to be completely neutral. But I just want to make a comment about the district councils. That's and this is mostly to OC about the perception of some politicians and some other people. The Constitution, Section 119, states that the district councils are advisory; they're not elected. If the British government, if the FCO or the UK wanted them to be elective, they would have said so in the Constitution. They are advisory, and advisory means they are appointed. You cannot have an advisory district council that are elected. That doesn't happen anywhere in the district councils world. And you can go to all the district councils all over in the Commonwealth, Canada, Scotland, New Zealand, Australia, and all those places, and you'll see how advisory district councils are, the composition of advisory district councils. Now, the first advisory district council was back in 1956 with Major Donald, the commissioner, and he appointed an advisory council to help him with the problems of the country then, and the fact that in a few years' time we were going to have the first constitution. Some of those advisory district council members were Mr. Will Farrington, Ormond Panton, Captain Teo, Warren Conley, and so forth. He appointed them to advise him
Doc, I just need to put you on notice that we don't have a whole lot of time. Mr. Mario, this is his paid spot, so I'm going to need you to be as brief as possible.
Yes,
so advisory district councils are selected from the people in the district, and then they are appointed by the government, by the cabinet, to advise the district, to advise the members of the district, the elected members of the district, on the matters pertaining to the district. They're not elective district councils. So all of those people who are insistent that they are elected district councils are not in the right place, not politically correct.
Okay.
They have since 2009, the Constitution came in. If the district council were so bad, and if they were so wrong, why didn't they change the law all these years?
Right, exactly. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have one more call. We're going to take that call, and because we're going to close off at 10 minutes to 9. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Please be as brief as possible.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Alfaro.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mario.
Morning, my friend.
Concerning pensions, if let's say if every Caymanian was to retire with $100,000 in their pension, and they spent $2,000 a month out of that, in 4.5 years, that money would be finished. So, do you think it's possible that the government is able to start collecting concessions and putting towards a pension fund for the Caymanians? Thank you.
Thank you
very much, caller. DJ Lynn, we're going to have to close the phone lines back off now.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good call, and I also want to thank Dr. Mike Field for his comments as well. And I think we're saying the same thing. The pension, I think we need to look at that very carefully, and we got to realize that we don't have income tax in this country, although my opponent seems to think I have an income tax plan. I know where he getting that from, but we don't have income tax in this plan in this country. We don't have Social Security, and for many people, pensions will be their only source of income in their golden years, and we got to make that as best as we can. And so, but I also think that the idea of a sovereign fund, something that we can use to help the elderly and help poor people, is something that we need to look at as well. And that's one of the things that I would be looking at when we when we are elected to form the government, looking at some sort of sovereign fund to do a lot of community things. And I'm not talking about gambling or casinos or lottery in that area either. I'm talking about a separate fund, and I think that we can do it if we all just work together. There's so many issues out there, Mr. O.C., that we have to have people helped. People got to help themselves, but we got to give people a hand up and help to raise the whole country. A rising tide raises all the boats. We got to help people help themselves, and those who need help, the indigent and those who are sick, we have to find a way of helping them. So I think that the pensions is for retirement, but other means of assistance through perhaps a sovereign fund is something that we need to look at to help people.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes left.
Okay, so the as I said, health insurance and pensions reform are woefully inadequate at the moment, and it needs to be done. It's long overdue. We have to do that because people, even if they get a pension right now, $1,000 a month under the private sector, they're spending almost that just to pay their health insurance, regardless of how much they have in their pension fund. So we need to look at indexing the annual payments that people get based on what they have in their pensions, but that can only be done if we have people who have the competence and who are thinking and who are thinkers, who have ideas and solutions and a good vision, that they can sit down around the table with stakeholders, be they private sector, public sector, Caymanian, non-Caymanian, bring about the talent around the table to just deal with some of these things. I mean, I was driving from West Bay this morning to come here, and you can hardly see the ocean now on 7 Mile Beach. And again, my opponent and his colleagues closed off a large section of 7 Mile Beach Road to allow the DART Kimpton project to proceed, and they're going to do more of that if they get their way. I can see and I fear that 20 years from now we could be driving through a tunnel from West Bay to Georgetown and between high-rise buildings and condos and stuff. Is that what we want? I don't think we want that. But I think we need to look at the long term. I think people need to look at their mothers, their wives, their sisters, their aunts, and young children, boys and girls. When they vote next week, don't just vote for what you got this week or last week. Look at the long term. What's in the best interest of this country? You know, I am putting myself forward. I could have done other things. Put myself forward. If I don't win, that's fine with me. If I win, I'm going to give 8 years of solid, if I'm re-elected in 4 years down, 8 years of solid service, honest service, dealing with issues in the community and nationally and internationally. If people elect me, I want to say that they get two for the price of one, because my wife is retired and she is a dynamic person, caring person, and she's going to be helping out. Now, she's not going to be in the forefront, and she's not going to be involved in politics, but she'll help out as she always has for the last 35 years I've been with her. They get two for the price of one. But if they miss the boat next week, Wednesday, and I'm not elected, then that's it for me. I'm not coming this road again. But I'm putting myself out. I'm taking some blows, but we're talking about ideas, solutions, and a better vision, and that's what we're going to continue to do, elected or not. I want to also give a few reminders about what's coming up. Tomorrow evening at April the 8th, Thursday, at 7 p.m., we have a public meeting at the 8 Bush Stadium parking lot. We'll have another dynamic panel of guest speakers on the platform with me. We'll have refreshments. And I'm going to do a speech tomorrow evening, and the title of my speech, Mr. O.C., I think you might like this, is Reigniting the Shining City on a Hill. Reigniting the Shining City on a Hill. That'll be the title of my talk tomorrow evening. Then I come back here on Friday morning with you again at 8:30 a.m. Friday to talk a bit about issues and solutions and a better vision. Yes. Then on Monday afternoon, midday, I'll be on with Sterling Dween or Dween Sterling at midday on Radio Cayman. Then our final rally will be next Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. at the Club Inferno parking lot in Hell Road. And again, guest speakers, entertainment, and issues and solutions. We're going to end up this campaign the way we started it, talking about uniting the country, talking about solutions, ideas, and issues, and a better vision, not about mud or about anything else. We are eagles. We are not going to go to the level of snakes. We are going to remain that, whether we're elected or not. I commit that to the country, and that's where we're going to go. So regardless of what my friend comes after me and says this morning, I'm not going to go that road. I am saying to him, it is time for you to retire, and let's work together. We need workers, not mudslingers. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Folks, that was Mr. Mario Ebanks, candidate in the upcoming April 14th general election, seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have the Honorable McKeeva Bush in the studio with us until 10 o'clock. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Whether you're finishing a new condo, upgrading your rental property, or simply renovating, make Roper's Enterprises your first stop. Quality furniture at a fraction of the price. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Roper's, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Your home deserves a quality finish. Visit their showroom or shop online at ropers.ky. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has lots of great reasons why you should choose a Toyota Corolla Hybrid or CHR Hybrid for your new ride. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven, so you don't ever have to worry about plugging them in. Both are super quiet as well as economical and fun to drive. So stop by Vant Motors to check out a new, fuel-efficient, eco-friendly Toyota Corolla Hybrid for only $26,900 or a sporty CHR Hybrid starting from $34,150 while stock lasts. Go Toyota. Go hybrid. Go to Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We still have a few minutes before we have our next guest on in the studio with us. Meanwhile, I can and will share with you some of the news, community news as well. Just want to remind everyone that today's World Health Day has been observed internationally, World Health Day today, and also to the COVID-19 update for the 6th of April. Yesterday is 6th of April. Dr. John Lee reported that 1,004 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported on the Thursday, the 1st of April. 11 were positives. The individuals are travelers who tested positive following routine screening. They will remain in isolation until considered recovered as well. So I'll share that with you. We do have a caller. Let's grab that caller before we go on to our guest. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Orsi. How are you, man?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you? How you had a busy week over there, huh?
You didn't get out of the bakery until about 8-something on Saturday night, man.
Well, I got a half a dozen, something like a half a dozen, or it might have been 8 packages is of your bullets as well.
Wow, wow. Yeah, that sounds good, man.
Extremely grateful for to the person who brought them for me.
Yeah. Also, I don't have much time, but I just wanted to, just say this.
Sure.
Good piece that I'm going to tell you about. Also, you remember it was some lady in Barbados that had sang a song about who the hell is Kim? What foolishness you talking? You remember that song?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, OC, I heard a clip coming from the premier just recently somewhere in Prospect, I think it was, where he was saying that the funds, the stipend that they give out to the people that mostly in the tourism industry, that if the constituents vote for him, they will get that raised from $1,400 to $2,000. And he said that the opposition or whoever running against him would never be able to put their hands on it. Let me ask you a question, O.C. Are those funds his funds, personal funds?
No, those are the people's funds, the government, for the people of the Cayman Islands. And what did you say that the last part about something about not getting their hands on it? What was it?
It says that tell the opposition or whoever it is that going to be taking him out, they're not going to be able to touch it. Seemed like to me that's the way I understood it, and I think that's wrong.
Well, whatever government comes into play after the 14th of April will certainly have access to whatever funds, government funds, are available. Some would have already been earmarked through the budgetary process. They would have already been earmarked for certain things, but it's not like one government can keep away the funds of the Cayman Islands from another government. That's not possible. That's not possible.
And I mean, also for somebody like in his position to make a statement like that, I think it's really uncalled for.
Well, I would have to hear it to see, and be able to decipher it to see exactly what he was saying. So I wouldn't pass judgment until I'm able to hear it.
Yeah, well, you can hear it because I can get someone to send it to you.
Okay.
You know? But OC, listen.
Very quickly, gotta go.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, man.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to do our headline news, DJ Lynn, and then we will have the Honorable W. McKeeva Bush, who's in the studio with us. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
In your headlines, Cayman's efforts to ensure nonprofit organizations aren't used as vehicles for money laundering or terrorism financing include outreach programs like the one just before Easter holiday, where representatives from more than 20 nonprofit organizations participated in a session on good governance standards organized by the Registrar of NPOs. The session at the Government Administration Building helped both newly registered and existing NPOs understand compliance requirements under the NPO Act, including reporting requirements and guidelines for good internal controls. In international news, an Iranian ship believed to be a base for the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard and anchored for years in the Red Sea off Yemen has been attacked. Tehran acknowledged the incident, suspected to have been carried out by Israel, although Tehran did not immediately blame its regional archenemy. The assault comes as Iran and world powers sit down in Vienna for the first talks about the U.S. potentially rejoining a tattered deal aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear program, showing events outside the negotiations could derail the efforts. India is reporting a record daily surge in new coronavirus cases for the second time in 4 days, while New Delhi, Mumbai, and dozens of other cities announce they are imposing curfews to try to slow soaring infections. The rise of 115,736 coronavirus cases reported in the past 24 hours tops the 103,844 infections reported Sunday. Fatalities rose by 630 in the past 24 hours, the highest since November, driving the death toll in the country to 166,177 since the pandemic began. Those are your headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As promised, my pleasure to have in the studio with me the Honorable William McKeeva Bush, Speaker of our Parliament, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, former Minister, incumbent member for the electoral district of West Bay West in our Parliament and seeking re-election. Mr. Bush, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Morning, OC. Thank you. And good morning to our audience. We hope that they are there and listening.
Oh, they are. They are.
You had a busy morning.
Oh, so far,
I've heard some.
I'm sure it's gonna be busy until 10.
I heard some claims and some disclaimers, but they don't fool me. It is important, this election. You get down to the last week. Next week, this time, so people will be voting, God willing. And there are many issues that affect our people. I listened for a short while and coming up here to my opponent, trying to make people believe that he hasn't been doing any mudslinging. But he's a contrarian, always was, always will be. And so they put people on their platform, I should say this first, to campaign with them, to say all manner of evil. That's the very first thing they did in their very first meeting. Then he ends up this talk today about eagles and snakes. If you're going to be honest with people, be honest with people. I reply to things that I think I ought to reply to. When they talk about personal things, I don't get into that. Has never been brought wives into it in West Bay. We never had families in it. And now all of that is being done. I'm not here for that. My wife is a good homemaker. She has, for 45 years we've been married, and she's been an excellent mother, now a grandmother with 5 grandchildren, and we only have one child left, one son, but she's been an excellent mother, an excellent wife. And so when I got involved, just to say, we say 2 things. She was not of the cocktail crowd. She didn't believe in just going because the husband was going. She knew there would be things that I had to do, but we decided there had to be someone to keep our home, keep our family. And there have to be someone at home when people come, because we live in a small community, and people, you can have as much office staff you want. People want to talk to the representative.
Yes.
And so they come to your house, wherever they can find you, whether it's in church, whether it's at a funeral, they will talk with you. And that's why I'm elected.
They don't want to talk by phone either.
No.
Face to face.
Don't talk about phone. No. And so, my wife has done all of that. And people know that in West Bay. I don't need to get on the radio to say any more than what I've just said, because people know my wife, Carrie, and they know that she's a lady. And that's good enough for the people of West Bay. She has there to do whatever she can from being the caretaker in my home. There are many issues. I just wondered that he was closing off with, and I think it was Dr. Steele came on about the advisory councils. That's what the Constitution says. The Constitution talks about an advisory council. That's what was put in place in London, as you wouldn't remember. And therefore, that's what the first thing I did in 2009 was to try to get that done. We formed one in West Bay, and the bunch of them, and I got to say the bunch of them, Mrs. Darlene, I still call her Glidden, but Darlene Huddleston was our first chairman, but they refused to take part. They castigated me. They did some of everything, and he was part and parcel of it. The next thing I do want to say is that, yes, we need that, but firstly, we need people who care. I live in my district all of my life, a stone's throw from where my house is now. In fact, where I live now is where we used to roam as boys, so it was a small area. And I have nowhere else to go. I have no home outside of West Bay. I don't go off and all these Easter things that, as I know you went to try to find them, you can't find them, they're not outside. That's called good and well, that's their business. But don't castigate McKeeva talking about where McKeeva is not representing people. People can reach me, and if I can do something, I do it. If I can't, then I try. That's the important thing. So I leave them alone with their pie in the sky dreams, as I say, touch the cut and paste ideas. Pensions, he was part and parcel with pensions over several years. Did it get better? He was the manager of it. Did it get better? No, it didn't get any better, because it is not as easy as they say. What is easy is you can make the rates, but getting it to work at these dreams, people better be careful how they allow people like Mario to talk about changing up with government pensions. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. The civil service has an excellent pension scheme. And whether you can put the two of them to run together, that's not something that I know. So I would be more than careful to give my vote to something like that. Just exactly what the plans are. Talking about the amalgamations and those things are easy. You know what's hard? It's the exact management of it, I would imagine, and the rates and the investments, where the money's going. Because remember, between 2005 and 2009, we lost in public pensions, not government pensions, private sector pensions, which our people belong to. The vast majority, not the civil service pension, they lost $200 million. You don't hear much about it, but we didn't get reports. We didn't get any reports till after he left, as far as I can remember. When he should have highlighted these things, he didn't. You never heard nothing about it. And he was the manager or part of the management team. I don't remember what the exact name for them is. And so coming to these things and like people never done anything, the first thing is, thank God we did have a pension scheme. Thank God that I fought to get it, and I fought the pharaohs in this town to get it. And so now we do need a revamping of our pensions to better able to help people. But just think if we didn't have something. Those people that were able to get something for COVID, because we would have been in a greater mess. I hope they invested it properly. I did see people doing things with their funds and told me they were doing things with their funds. So that was benefiting them and their families. So they were fortunate to that extent. The other thing that I know that he's on this kick about, he's going to be elected for 2 terms, he says. And there's this promise of term limits that he's going to change the Constitution now so that when you elect somebody, you can only elect them for a certain period. Well, you do that now for 4 years, but it doesn't stop you from electing the same person that they choose to run, as people have done with myself. I will say to Cayman, be more than careful with these ideas. I do not think that the one man, one vote, and you might differ on that, OC, but me, you're not here about differing. You're not the candidate this morning. One man, one vote, as far as I'm concerned, this country, and I always say that. Thank God West Bay was the only district, I think, that voted against it. And therefore, I still stand. I do not believe that system is the best for our country. Brings many problems and will continue to do so. We are too small to be divided the way we are, and by boundaries. There are already too many divisions in people's mind. That's just in their minds and how things will work and how they work, much less to now tell you that you can only elect the person you want for 8 years. We're too small for that. If we do that, what you're going to find, the last bastion we have is that Legislative Assembly. Nobody else owns that besides the Caymanian people. And so I am not going to agree to any such thing, not because I enjoy politics and I like to serve, and I would like to serve as long as I'm able to serve, and as long as people elect me, of course. But it is what we have, our system has worked for us. Why change something that has worked? It is working. They were out spiteful. Look what they said. So he was part of it, saying, we are putting in one man, one vote so that we can get rid of McKeeva and his influence on the electors in West Bay. And so West Bay didn't listen to them. West Bay voted strictly against one man, one vote. And so they come back now with another thing, thinking that that's another way that they can do to get rid of me. No, if the people don't want me, then the people will not vote for me. That's a fact. We have, as you know, OC, one of the best run, I think, electoral systems in the region. Hardly here
in the world.
In the world. And we always get around 80% turnout. Our people are interested in our democracy. There are some things to work, but not changing our constitution to stop you, to stop the man on the street, to stop the citizens from electing for as long as they please their choice. Why take away that choice from you? Why? But that's the likes of Mario Ebanks. The one thing that he came, next thing he came and promised that he went down in one of my areas. Well, when I say my area, it's part of my constituency, Ebanks Road, but that's my family. That's where my ancestors come from, in that area, on one side of my family. And he says that he's going to take Cayman Airways and going to go from here on one of the smaller planes to Havana. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and listening public, this is the same man that criticized me and said I was bringing communism into Cayman when I opened our Cuban destination as a partnership. And I can tell him that's not going to work, because when the Cuban ambassadors come, they operate from my house. They operate from my house. That's where they see all their people. They come early in the day and they don't leave till after 12 at night. They work hard, those ambassadors, when they come here to talk with their people, get things done for their people. We have talked about that long time. To go from here to Havana is not possible. You have to go through Cuba, and Cuban government told us.
You mean to Isle of Pines?
To Isle of Pines. You have to go through Havana to go to Isle of Pines. And you're likely to have to overnight. You have to take one of their transporters, whether it's a plane or a boat, to go there. Isle of Pines do not have an international airport anymore. They do not allow any foreign flights in there. They had to come to Havana. And so it made it put it out of reach of people. That's basically what happened. And so, besides being a contrarian that he is, that's not going to work with Cuba. And up until last year, when they came, they made a visit, was one of the things that we talked about. And they talked about it openly. They talked to me privately. When I went to Jamaica, they always host me, no matter what side of the government I'm on. We have a good working relationship, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want communism. What I wanted was a good working relationship with Cuba. The United Kingdom say, we do it, so we have no problem with you doing it. And I was criticized for that. Now he picks this up, finds it a good thing to promise to go down in there, because there's a huge Latin community down in Ebanks Road, and he thought he would sway them. Well, he didn't get, I don't think, more than one or two people from there out to his meeting. What he had there was what he carried there. So, I don't have to worry about the things that they come here and promise. Ladies, OC, our manifestos talks about creating a social partnership and building a national consensus. And we cannot advance our national interests without a national consensus on what is good for our people. And so, therefore, uniting our people, keeping our people united and building national consensus will be critical for the success of government programs. And that's a thing that is lacking right now. So government must engage in genuine consultation with people in pursuit of an open policy of engagement with all Caymanians, no matter where we come from, in the process of nation building, regardless of political affiliation. We will continue to encourage a policy of open debate and democratic participation by stakeholders, by inviting discussions and dialogue in policies affecting all. And so while we put in place that district council that I talked about, and put the law into place, and the law is there, and we created a West Bay District Council, I will work, and now I work with my constituency council, this West Bay Enhancement Council. That's for West Bay West. I do believe that the district councils are necessary on the whole, and while I can discuss with them any issue, of course, the same thing. But I don't think four district council, as you would put it, not electoral councils, but district councils, are what the Constitution calls for. I don't think that we need 19 of them.
So in the case of West Bay, would you consider then a situation where you have an advisory district council for West Bay comprised of the various electoral districts?
You got it right.
West Bay West,
you
West
got it
Bay
right.
South, West Bay North, they would all be have representation on that one central advisory district council.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Not the electoral districts, West Bay West, West Bay Central,
Yes.
West Bay South, and West Bay North. No, we would have one council, because that's what the Constitution speaks to. And I don't think we need to change it. As I said, we're too small for all this because what it does is build up huge bureaucracy. We don't need that. We got enough bureaucracy as it stands. And so our community has a critical choice that will define what kind of country we will leave our children and grandchildren. Are we going to grow the economy to sustain the infrastructure we have built, or are we going to shrink the infrastructure to accommodate the current economy? That's for me, that's not in my books at all. Are we going to evolve to maintain our leadership in the services we provide, or are we going to sleep on our success? Well, we cannot sleep. We have to continue to move forward and to develop, because we are developing for Caymanians. That's who we are developing for. They can ask that question as long as they want. It's Caymanians that get the benefit of it, and the day that we stop, then the day dog eat our supper. So are we going to take responsibility and charter our own future, or are we going to bow to the vagaries of international pressures? Are we going to face the challenges and seize the opportunities, or are we going to bury ourselves in all kind of bureaucratic processes? I think we now have a good opportunity to rebuild our economy and build it on the new Cayman that I see coming up. We don't have to destroy our culture, although with many impacts already. But we can provide opportunities for businesses that will in turn create jobs, and that's one of the biggest problems right now. See, people, I don't know how many people realize it, but there is a lot of unemployment. The government realizes it because government, and I'm talking about the coalition government, the coalition government has to dish out so much money. And I believe that we will have to do more of that. I see where they're threatening the premier for promising that he's going to increase. But I think that we have to promise. That's what these manifestos are all about. I think that's whoever thought up that, what are they thinking? Here you bring a manifesto. What is that? That's a promise. Promises. I can look back on things and say, this is what I have done. Solid things for my constituency, right? Build old people homes, put in libraries, put in health clinics, put in facilities for the people. They were all promises first, but I fulfill those promises. And so it's nonsense to threaten the premier about he's doing the wrong thing. I made that promise, the same promise. If I get elected, I'm going to push that if this thing continues and we cannot open sensibly, and I am with the premier in that. I note that that Mario's group, and I'm hearing and I want to come to that because he picks them up when he wants to pick them up, and then he talks about, oh, it's not him, it's them saying so. They're saying so on your behalf, my son. So understand that when Troy Leacock gets up there and talk about opening up for business, he's talking for you. He's your nominate. He nominated you, Mr. Mario. He's the one you're talking about income tax. You said you're not for income tax, but he says that we're for it. He says income tax, property tax. Now they're watering it down, They're saying, oh, just property tax on foreign owned, yeah? But you go there and you'll find out how much it can be just foreign owned. Mine, your household, will end up paying for it. You can believe that. And so as far as what we have to do, the first thing we have to do is to work in that next 3 months. If we do not get the economy off and rolling, and I know we can't get it off and rolling with new industries and create more jobs, because we are losing jobs in the finance industry. But we have to have an opportunity for businesses that will in turn create jobs in our tourism and jobs in the financial services and other opportunities from the financial services, jobs in the construction industry and other opportunities that come from that, jobs in the agriculture and even an aquaculture sector, because that's something we want to have the turtle farming and we only eating a bit from it, and they're hiring a lot of people. And one of the things that the Mario group wanted to close down was the turtle farm, including Mr. Art McLean. And I sometimes I think Ezra was with it as well. I don't know where he's current on it now, but certainly we can have an aquaculture industry as far as I'm concerned. We're surrounded by water. We can do things. People use their shoreline in other countries to create farms. Yeah. You don't have to go and build a building to create a farm for aquaculture. And so we will work with those things, create an environment that restores our economy to bounce back, and that will stabilize the high standard of living we've been used to. But we must create the jobs for the hundreds of children coming out of school each year, and that's what I say, jobs, jobs, jobs. And then we will have money to further grant scholarships and help pay people bills. Jobs, and that means being welcoming to foreign investments and cutting costs to local business. Jobs. The only way to get jobs is to be a welcome place to do business. That's what we want of a Cayman beyond the 14th of this month. We need to stop rubbing, as I said, we rub our fire ants while elephants trample us. So the team choice is clear, but the decision is the people's to make. They know which way is the better way forward, and they kind of love it to happen. That's what I say. Vote for Ralston in the West Bay North, vote for Captain Eugene in West Bay Central, vote for McKeeva Bush in West Bay West. We cannot leave behind the social development of this country. We've done that. We've hit it by bits and pieces, and it's been a hard fight, because I remember them calling me a communist and a socialist when I started to talk about the labor law. I remember that, and I remember the changes that we've tried to get, and that's what it was. Oh, you're socialist, you're communist. But we must find new strategies and programs that will make the family life much stronger. We're talking a kind of socialism, but it's not the kind of socialism that you might say communism.
Not the classic.
Not the classic socialism as they know it. I'm talking about taking care of our social well-being. We believe that we can do better for our children through parents, working with parents. We can do that. We can do that for all adults who are parents. And if we can achieve that, then all of society will benefit. Home is still our own bastion, our own responsibility. It's not government, ours. But then we can help in the community. Infants cannot have parents around them all the time. And while we talk about daycare being wide-ranging and all the benefits for that, we must seek to develop solutions that seek to address the concerns and issues that affect today's families. Family issues has always been my concern, and it will continue to be a key priority of my agenda for the next 4 years, God willing. Homes, as I said, are still the most important to all of us. We must try to make our homes the best we can, but building new homes cannot assist with the raising or rearing children by itself. Okay. All a new home does is reflect the material success that we have come to want and learn to appreciate.
Okay, time for us to take a commercial break, folks. So please stay tuned. When we return, the conversation with the Honorable W. McKeeva Bush will continue, so please stay tuned.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Important announcement.
Applications are now open for summer programs at the University College of the Cayman Islands. Want to learn a new skill, continue your education, or progress your career? UCCI has something for everyone, from leisure courses to professional development. It's here on your doorstep. Plus, this summer only, many of our programs are online, so you can study with us from anywhere in the world. Don't miss your place. Apply now online, in person, or by phone or email. Visit www.ucci.edu.ky/admissions today. Classes start May the 10th.
Green Turtle,
modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring. Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511 or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511. Roper's, providing products and services for better public health.
It is truly important to our country that the voices of all the people in the Cayman Islands are heard on Election Day. Your vote counts.
April 14th, 2021.
Exercise your democratic right and vote. A public service announcement from your #1 community station, Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me until 10 o'clock this morning, the Honorable William McKeeva Bush, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, former Minister of the Cayman Islands, Member of Parliament, current Speaker of our Parliament as well, incumbent member for the electoral district of West Bay West, and seeking re-election in West Bay West as well. Mr. Bush, one of our questions that we have, I'll just read this and you can cover it at any point in time. Right. It says here, please ask Mr. Bush if he is still of the opinion that Cayman needs 100,000, or they say here 120,000 persons.
Well, I don't know where they get those figures from. I certainly believe that we will have to continue to grow. We will not remain at 60-something thousand people, right? But people will keep having children, and we want to grow our economy. I do believe that we need good people here. As I say, we can't be the Salvation Army to the whole world, taking people on work permits that and continue to do that. We have to grow our own population. And so just what the population number will be, I don't have that scientific knowledge to know that. I do believe that we can be overcrowded. I mean, like I said, and I give an example a lot, Singapore is just about our size. They have 6 million people, but they're well managed. They're well managed. When I say that, people accept the disciplines that they can even blow their car horns in certain areas. We will never get to that. But just how many? No, that's not something I can sit here this morning and give any number for. Let me just say that there's a continue on this matter of community, and I call it community development. As I said, building a new home is one thing, but there's much more to family than giving the children the best brand sneakers and $5 a day for lunch. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that there is some material success, our families have lost the communal structures that made us successful. So in the way forward, my ideas, and they worked before they were slapped down again. In the way forward, we have a program to promote community development action committees as a support for churches and schools, our senior citizens and our family members that needs assistance. We have a strategy that will be able to deal effectively with the problems of each community. And those committees before had people and the knowledge of the area, such as Ms. Zimmery Thompson and Ms. Fade Power in West Bay and Ms. Martha Bush in West Bay in the early 90s. They cared for the community, but the Kodaks, as I have termed them, will have to be supported by the government with help from the community, with persons appointed in each district, paid to ensure that there are results for people. And so more and more as a representative of OCI, I find that older people need various kinds of assistance that governments are not able to supply. And so we intend through the Kodaks to set up a community fund to meet those needs. Again, managed hopefully by that district council. Mm-hmm. That's the sort of things that they would oversee. That's the sort of things that the district council would be part and parcel of. I hear them talking about a sovereign fund. You see all these cliches? Yeah, it's good to talk about it. What they're not talking about is where is the money going to come from to set it up. So that is where we want all these things, but nobody is putting forward any plan. If Mr. Dart builds something, he blocking off the view of the sea. That was blocked off for so long. Well, they put it 10 stories. Now it's 2 stories, still a lot along that beach. You can see the sea. You should be looking at the road anyway. But I don't find that confusing. I don't find that I'm missing. Not me. Because we went pell-mell in developing the 7 Mile Beach, our goal. And now we know we got areas like Barker's and some other areas in the country that it will be developed, whether in my time or not. What we have to ensure now is that our development now does not negatively impact, because it's not government land anymore. If they believe they can just walk into people's land, we are a democratic country with democratic courts, and people, you will land up there and you won't get anything done, because people are not going to just allow you to come in and take their hard-earned money that they spend on their land, whether that's a Caymanian or whether that's a foreign national. And so we look at Barker's as an instance, right? Still in its pristine state. I purchased property there, and so we can have our national parks, and we can have some use for the beach. The setbacks, we don't have to go 50 feet. We need to go back 3-4 times that may be now. And that's what how you would develop Barkers. You can't stop people as such. You can put in your parameters through the planning law, and we can do that. And we want to put proper setbacks so that we won't have what we have on West Bay Beach. But to say that you're not going to do this, you're going to stop this, you're going to stop that, it is people land. The day we start that, you're starting something that it's no turning back from. You're going to get in problems with it. We just can't walk in on people, private property. But we must do things, and we can do things in Barkers differently. They cuss Mr. Dart, as when I say cuss him, they say all manner of things about him, as Mario likes to do. But, Mr. Dart Corporation employs over 1,000, just about 1,000 Caymanians. And employing others means that those others have some effect on our whole surroundings, but they also have a contribution. Because they spend in the restaurants, they buy in the gas stations, they buy the cars, maybe too many, but they contribute to our economy. So this idea about who you're developing for, you sit down there and you'll starve to death about who you're developing for. They're the cliches, and they take it and throw it around when it suits them, because I know some of them, OC. I am not 15 years old. I know they actually saying Cayman is for them and their special friends. What we need, far as I'm concerned, is real feelings for people. We are always going to have those who care for themselves only, and the common prejudices will always exist. I know that. And their prejudices, they never bothered me, OC. God has spared my life to see this age, and most Caymanians, we know what it was to grow up in a caring community. And I live with nothing else but doing good for people wherever I can, wherever they come from. As I said, far as I'm concerned, when all these cliches, it's all about rubbing our small matters. As I said, rubbing our fire ants, while the elephants are trampling us. Success, our successes were built on real care. When the older people would see you, they would check you and slap you sometimes. You're doing the wrong thing. And then they'll go home, tell your parents, and then you came back and got a flogging for it all again. So I'm not saying that that's the norm of the day today, and that's what we have progressed far beyond those things. We are a modern new world Cayman, and this pandemic is throwing up a whole different world that we are going to have to come to grips with. But where are the monies going to come from? They don't want that doing this, they don't want the next one doing that, and they throw around all the buzzwords. But where does the money come from? And you can have an account, whether you call it sovereign or call it personal. You got easy to have those accounts. Getting the money to put there, and when you criticize investors and reject everything that they bring, just look at Health City. And I repeat this, I repeat myself, and I've said so before. Just look at it. If I had taken up and followed the negatives about it, even with that, 1,000 Caymanians are working there. The hotels that they have built have upgraded our tourism product. The international school he has put down, whether that caters to everybody or not, it caters to children. And so look at what they're doing to connect the road now. We would have had all this. You think we would have had it? No. I think I'm safe in saying we wouldn't have gotten it now, because far too many people are scared to spend money. Caymanians don't have that kind of money in the first instance. So it is easy to knock things and criticize things and criticize people. Easy to put up, like Alaska, dreams in the sky, pie in the sky. It's easy to go on the internet and cut and paste. I've learned to do that too. But that doesn't cut it for the man on the street when he needs a job. When pandemics hit us, when hurricanes hit us, all that good talk and nice talk means nothing if you don't get money. So we have to do things for small business. We have to create jobs, and we have to fight to get a reduction of bureaucracy. You know that Cameron, when he was there, he said he cut 1,000 pages out of their planning laws. You imagine that? Because he said they were opposite to growth and to develop the United Kingdom. We're getting far close to that. We don't have 1,000 pages, but we got, and I'm not just talking about planning, I'm talking about all around. Because the civil servants themselves, they're even afraid to do things. because they can so easily be criticized by an overzealous chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. And if he gets Swearbrook, he was looking at jobs. So he had a name to make. The governor gave him one. He got a good one for him after he stopped everything. He could stop here. And so these things, bureaucracy, we have to be careful, and it must be reduced. But we must expand small business support, and that's what we need to do, continue to do that. The current government has done some of that, and advisory services provided by the government, we have to expand those, because there is problems in what some of what's going on. I'm not going to eat up my time here this morning to sit down and talk about those things, but we have to identify new sources of microfinancing for small businesses and some of that, but it's not where it can be at this time. And we will implement the small business development and job creation programs. That's what needs to be done now. Not just the pride, I call it, that we do Christmas and mostly at Christmas. No, that's not what I'm talking about. We have to pursue legislative and institutional changes and provide support mechanisms to facilitate our people converting their feasible business ideas into sustainable commercial activities. They can go to the Department of Commerce now, and some of that is happening. But I don't think it's enough. And the bureaucracy that the Department of Commerce have to go through, but it's built up, blocking the progress and putting things in place where even when the government do things, it's not able to reach our people. That's what's happening to the current government. It will happen to the next government. It happened to past governments since we came in with this thing that this cliche of good governance. Yes, good governance means good governance, but it doesn't mean stopping you from getting things done. And so I found out too that many of our young people whose ideas and energy are integral to any strategy aimed at should be Cayman sustainable development are unemployed. And we will make it a priority to create programs, and of course with the private sector assistance, to help young unemployed people get a job, including the apprenticeships and work experience programs that they have to be. There's one now, Denise DeMaccardo, and the one that I speak of that one because that was a famous one, but our own right? Look at what he tried to do. Yes. And government did not help that man. They did not help that man, and that was one of the first ones. I helped him, but the government came in after me and stopped it, and then they stopped Denise's program. But we have to do those sort of things. We just can't talk about it. And now the candidates comes up, and because they realize it's a good thing, and they haven't done it. But yet before, when I was doing it, I was wasting and giving away the people's money. Mario Ebanks put that circle around his forehead. We have wide consultations. We would need to have wide consultations and review immigration laws and policies to ensure that in their application, an appropriate balance is achieved and maintained between Caymanians being considered for jobs and the labor requirements of business. And at all times, ensure that the rights of Caymanians are protected. Some of what is happening now while we go in here, develop and want more business, far too many people being left behind because of the structures that is put in place. And we don't ask how this is going to be done. See, we have an immigration law. They need to take the bureaucracy out of that, make it plain and simple. This is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And ensure that our people are not left behind. It's not like where it was when I found it in 1984. Glass ceilings have been removed. People have been able to get to top jobs. But look at when the fallout came from 2008, because that's what from then. Not just Hurricane Ivan. We managed that. That was material things. We managed that and managed it good. Now we got a different pandemic to deal with, and so our country is changing, and we need to realize that there is change that we're going to have to contend with on an international basis, and the international vagaries are going to affect us. We have to be able to stand up and say, well, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we want to do it. And if we can meet your standards, well, that's what we want to do, because we want to have that international view upon us that we're not doing the wrong things. So, yes, we have to change our immigration structures to be able to do some of these things. No need right now for some of our people not having work. Now, our finance industry has changed. You can believe it has changed. It has changed because when we first started on our basis, you could come out of school and you would get a job. That's not happening anymore. You now need a degree. And with the KY and all the other things that have been put in place and the pressures that have been put in place, no longer you can come out of school. And even with your degrees, we are finding, of course, people come back and not getting the jobs, not able to get the jobs. Now, mind you, some people choose careers that we're not able to reach yet. I've seen some of that, but that's not the vast majority. Far too many of our college educated have come back and not able to get jobs. We need to recognize that has changed. The finance industry has changed, and we need to do something about it. If we keep changing it, we're going to find that Caymanians are no longer going to have those jobs. Young ladies will see that could go in and they could work, because we are a smart people. We were able to learn on the job. Some of our sea captains didn't go to school for it, but they were the best navigators you could find. Mm-hmm. And so that trickled down to us. Those genes trickled down, and so we were able to go in to get jobs after coming out of school and continue up the ladder. Now that's not happening anymore. And finance is not entirely meeting while it's bringing in good revenue. Employment is reducing in it. And so we have to recognize that those changes have to be made, and we need to, in tandem, change our immigration laws so that when people come here, when bosses come here, they understand, listen, you mightn't like this one, but we're not asking you to go to bed with them. We're not asking you to let them stay in your house. We want you to work with them because you are here and they are Caymanians, and not because they are Caymanians they can get a job. They must have the job. They have to have capacity to deal with the work, have to be capable. But when we find our young people coming back educated and not able to get jobs in a modern day Cayman, that's a no-no. Mm-hmm. That's a no-no.
We have about 6 minutes left.
6? Mm-hmm. Boy, I'm looking at the wrong clock again. I'm looking at the wrong clock again.
4 minutes? 4 or 5 minutes, I'm told.
Five, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, OC, small business jobs and reduction of bureaucracy, new economic opportunities, in such things as patents that we can do, biotechnology, analytics, information technology, and bioelectronics. These are things that are that small industries that we can bring in, and we will do that. If anybody asks, is McKeeva serious? They know that I'm not averse to change. They know that. Our energy and the environment, we need to put in place the proper programs right now with CUC and telecoms, because the cost is far too high. And don't sit down and tell me that we can't do this. I don't believe that. One time, CUC, twice in my time, 2009, yesterday we going to up the cost. I say, you're going to court. That's where you're going. And you know what? They backed off. You have to stand up to these things, understand their business model, though, and work with them, because they are our corporate citizens. But that corporate citizens mean that they have to do things that bring costs down to not where your mortgage, your light bill is the same as your mortgage. That cannot be. And we can, with all of the new energy apparatuses that are available, we now need to work, get that energy council going, and be able to make energy and environment work together. Agriculture is something that we will expand on, and as I say, that's one of the things that if I'm re-elected, I'm going to ask for some special responsibilities to be able to work with agriculture. Don't tell me what the Constitution says. You can do anything with the Constitution as long as you stay within the parameters of it. They told me I couldn't have parliamentary secretaries, but I could have councillors. Well, what difference is? What the difference is? The only thing is my councillors didn't sit in cabinet where the parliamentary secretaries do sometimes. So we can do time things up. So I'll just say this to them. No Mr. Troy Leacock, no Mr. Mario, no income tax, no property tax, and no VAT. And no Mr. Leacock, who is Mr. Mario's chairman at some of his meetings, and the man who nominated him, we are not going to open up until the Premier thinks it's ready. He has my full backing on that. And certainly, no, Mr. Mario, we are not going to change our electoral system because you only want 8 years. If you only want 8 years, try to get the first 4 first. And so let us, as Caymanians, understand that the elections are here. You are going to choose your leaders. Be careful of who you're choosing. You hear that this one is not working with this one, and that's the first question. You know you got a biased press when the first question they come up with is who you're going to work with. I mean, if they were sensible and if they were not so biased, they would be saying, what are you going to do? Don't talk about who you're going to work with. Yeah, you got to work with somebody when you're elected. That's the first thing. Get elected after people chose you, and then you work with people, whoever is elected. Keep your jealousies aside, and remember our successes were built on real care for one another, and that's what I'm about. Positive results for people. I just fervently hope that those persons who rant and rave and talk what they don't know and give no idea on a cure of problems, that they would think better of themselves and their families. I have served my people sincerely and honestly and faithfully for over 50 years, 36 of them being elected. They elected me to help with the boys. I took my time and worked with the Boys Clubs and the Boys Brigade and youth groups in the church and all the things that I could do to help make our community better. The problems we're facing today takes work and takes committed people to do that work. I don't have to promise. People know that I work for the community. They elected me because they know me. They elected me because they know I'm a worker. They elected me because they know I care about them and I care about West Bay West and the people of West Bay. I do not live life from cut and paste stories from the internet. I believe in things I can do, real life, to touch and help people and their lives and make them better. I trust that our people will recognize this and recognize the leaders who will work for them. Not people who promise and have no record, even in their own private life, of accomplishing anything. So I will continue to do those things. I will continue to be the worker I have always been for people.
Okay. Folks, that was the Honorable William McKeeva Bush, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, former Minister, Speaker of our Legislative Assembly, incumbent member for the Electoral District of West Bay West, seeking re-election in the upcoming April 14th general elections. Have a great day. See you all on Friday. Please stay safe, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Also brought to you by Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. The Ministry of Commerce, planning, and infrastructure. And by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if